Hello everybody, this is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Today I'm going to do a quick video on matching church arrangements. We have the altar arrangements for First Methodist this week, and my customer wanted red and white in memory of her husband. And so I'm going to get started, and I am actually doing it back. I'm doing it with my back to you because it's easier for me to do a one-sided right in front of the arrangement. I'm going to start out. I have Oasis tucked into the church's liners. I'm going to start out by greening it out. So it's a one-sided arrangement, and so I am just taking this is called jade. And I am just taking my jade and I am going to fan it out. So it's kind of in just a fan shape. My greenery is. And I'm doing matching pieces. They always have two arrangements on their altar. And so that's why I have two containers. I always find it hard to do matching arrangements. I don't know why, because most of the time when you match arrangements, you want to mirror them. So if you have a veil to the left in one, you want it to the right in the other. And so I always just get so confused and messed up with that. It's not my favorite way to make arrangements. I don't know why. But we actually do a lot of arrangements that match if we do standing sprays. So what I'm doing now is I turned it around and I'm covering this Oasis that's on the back of this arrangement because I don't want anybody to see the backside and it not be finished. It's always important that it's finished all the way around. Now this backside is not going to have flowers, but I didn't want it to be just plain Oasis either. Okay, so there's my jade in one container. And now I'm going to move over to the next one. Here's my second container. And I'm just greening it out exactly like I did the first. And they're not side by side, so if you don't get it completely right, it is not a big deal. But I don't know how other people are, and I'm sure it's just because I'm a florist. I'm up there looking to see if they look just alike, and so I always like to try to get it as perfect as possible. And you can never get it perfect, so it's not a big deal, but all right, I'll turn this guy around and get its backside. Okay. So I've got plenty of greenery of the jade. Now I'm going to come back with some pretty foliage. Let's see, I dropped a piece, so I'm going to pick that up. Okay, so now I'm going to come back with some eucalyptus. This is the spiral or baby blue euc, and look at how, that's a huge branch. So I'm just going to take these bottom laterals off. I'm going to lay them up there because I don't want to throw them away because I could certainly use them. Tuck that right in, and that's really pretty. So I'm going to take the bottom pieces. They're a little short, But I'm just going to kind of tuck them right here in the front. All right, I'm going to take another piece and I'm going to pull all that from the bottom. Whoops, dropping it on the floor. Some of it's not so easy to come off. And I'm just pushing that right into that arrangement. This one's a little taller. There we go. So I'm trying to get them about the same height. And I'm just tucking some of this that I pulled off down deep. Okay, next what I'm going to do is come in with a little bit of silver dollar uke. I'm going to save these tiny pieces for a smaller arrangement. I'm just going to stick them over there. This is silver dollar eucalyptus, just a really pretty silver dollar. It actually has tiny little leaves. We don't always get it with this small of leaves, but it's really pretty. So I'm just going to pull the little pieces off and just fill in. And see how it's just given us a pretty filler in this arrangement. All right, so there's our silver dollar in that one. And I'm really using this as more of a filler than I am as a greenery. I just kind of wanted just a little bit of an airy look to it. And being that these arrangements are in memory of a man, I think greenery is always perfect for an arrangement for a man. So there's our two starting. This is just the greenery in the arrangements. Next, I'm going to come in with Bells of Ireland. I'm going to pinch the top side of the bells and make sure that there's no ugly blooms on it. So that one's broken at the top, so I'm going to just throw it away. And so to match, I always put a couple blooms here, a couple blooms here, and then it's a little easier than to make one arrangement and then come back and try to look and see exactly what I did. So I like to do it where I put a couple blooms and then move over to the next one and put the blooms in the same place, just so that it matches. It makes it just a little easier. And there's no right or wrong way. You can do it however you want to. For me, this is just the easiest way. All right, next I'm going to come in with some pretty white stock. These are just white blooms, white stock. And they smell so pretty. still a little long, so I just pulled it right out, put my foliage back in. I'm going to trim that down just a little bit. There. Okay? So I've got 4 white. I'm going to put 4 white over here. All right. So see how I'm kind of just mirroring. I put this one low, so I'll put this one low, kind of going back and forth. Okay, she wanted these arrangements to be red and white. So I have red roses and I have red carnations. Red carnations last so long, so I really like that they last long, and they're just a really pretty bright red. So I'm going to take this carnation, and what I'm doing is I'm holding the head between my pointer finger and my thumb, and I'm just going to fluff that carnation. Now the reason I hold his head like this is because if I held it like this and tried to brush it, I'm going to pop his little head off, and I certainly don't want to do that. But if you brush them, then you make them a little fluffy. So see how tight that bloom is? Take it and just brush it out. And you open the bloom up. Well, I broke the stem, so pull it down just a little. So I just go back and fluff all the carnations. There it goes. There's our carnations. Okay, next I'm coming in with some really pretty Freedom Red roses. And so a Freedom Red is a brighter red than I usually use. I like a heart rose, but it tends to be a darker red. And I do like how pretty this bright red is. It matches those carnations really well. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take some wire, and I am going to wire all the heads of my roses. The reason I do this is because it keeps all their heads standing up. They don't dip. Just in case, most often they won't, but I don't want it to be that one time that their little heads want to dip. So I always ensure that their heads don't by putting just a little bit of wire. Now what I like to do, and most flower shops I don't think do this. I think this is pretty old school. Most flower shops don't wire their roses. I've taken the wire. This is a 21 gauge. We've cut it into 3 pieces. I'm just taking it and pushing it into the calyx of the rose and just going around and around and wiring that rose. All right, so after I have wired all the roses, I'm going to take, I did pull back the rose petals that were bruised or damaged. And I'm going to now just take them, figure out kind of where I want them in the arrangement, and just tuck them right in. Now I'm going to do, like I told you earlier, I'm going to put one flower in one flower in the next, and kind of alternate, just because that makes it a little easier for me. And I'm taking my knife and taking some of these thorns off, and it's just because they bite. All right, so there's our red and our white and our carnations and roses and stock and snapdragons. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back with some little white carnations. I'll be right back. I'm going to run grab those. These are just mini white carnations. They're just tiny little mini white carnations. I'm going to use these as just a filler. And so what I'm going to do is fill in some of the space between the roses and the standard carnations. And I'm using it kind of like a baby's breath or a solidago, where I'm just coming in and just sprinkling it throughout to fill in my space. All right, and then last, what I'm going to do, I want to soften up this edge, and I don't love that all that jade is showing. I'm going to take a little bit of this eucalyptus, and all I'm doing is taking and just tucking it right here on the edge of this container. And it's just softening that edge. So when we go to put it in that gold urn at the church, it's just going to kind of drip over that side. I don't like that that's so large, so I'm just trimming that up. And there we go. We have two matching arrangements that will be placed on each side of the altar for church on Sunday. Guys, thank you so much for coming today and watching this video. I hope you have a great day. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to our channel, and you can always follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, and we're on YouTube. And I guess we're on TikTok. So y'all have a great day. We'll see you soon.